Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something a little bit special. Yeah, I'm playing Beyond Earth, Rising Tide again. This time, I have been given an exclusive preview of the CODEX V.5 mod. As you guys know, I have a Series 3, a series of Codex on version 3 that's currently ongoing. And the mod author, Ryika, or however it's pronounced, approached me via Reddit and said, yeah, basically, hi dude, would you like to have a bit of a preview of the version 5 before it's released on Steam? So, naturally, I creamed my pants and then, jumped up and down for joy. So this time round, I'm going to go for the North Sea Alliance. And, yeah, I'm going to give this a good go-through. This is one of the new features I'll go into later, which is military capacity. And we're going to go for an advanced setup. Right, so let's get all of our sponsors set up. Alfala, ARC, Pan-Asian Cooperative. Doop, 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 doop. So I'm on a dwarf planet, which is meant to be for 4 players, but I'm going for the whole 12. Right, Flanco, Liberia, Slavic Federation, Chongsu, Australia. Come on. Kavithan Protectorate, Integer, Brasilia, and if I can get down to the bottom, the African Union. So we're going for a Terran dwarf. I'm going to go for a lush biome, which means the as you can see, combat strength is decreased by 30%, spawn rate is increased by 30%. It's going to be tropical, it's going to be wet, the sea level is going to be high, resources are sparse. Now we go down to the advanced game options. So we've got disable military capacity, disable worker charges, gain health, which I'm not going to touch. Now I'm playing on quick speed, as I always do for my playthroughs. But what we have here is increase technology and virtue cost by 50%, or increase technology and virtue cost by 100%. Now I've been testing on both. I'm going to go for very slow progress. Now here we have disable Black Mask and disable Fog of War. We also have the Miasma, or Masmia. You can have fast or slow spreading. I'm going to go for fast spreading, with increased alien spawn rates, mutated aliens, which are considerably stronger than the regular ones, and frenzied aliens, so their aggression and their spawn rates are greatly increased. So it's going to be lush. We're going to have higher strength than normal aliens, but lower than they would be on any other biome because of the decreased combat strength. And we're going to have an increased spawn rate on top of frenzied aliens, so they're going to be all over the damn place. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, what he has changed, in amongst all the other various bits and pieces, are various quality of life fixes. The military capacity applies to both you and to the AI. In version 3, the playthrough that I'm currently already finished, there were massive numbers of AI units on the map. We're talking a couple of 100 for every faction, while I was running around with individual highly skilled units. You know, I'd make surgical strikes, I'd back it up with submarines and air support. If I was forced to fight on land, I'd always opt for artillery first and then direct fire units second. Because that's just the way I play. I'm very much a glass cannon. I focus on high speed, high strength assaults, and then I get the fuck out once I know what I'm trying to do. Whereas the AI definitely seems to factor in wave combat, and it doesn't always work out in my favour when I'm facing a carpet of various coloured units. So military capacity is one way where you can basically counter that, so it's not so much of an issue. Now, where to put my first base? There's a river over there that I can't use, but I could use for a second and a third base. There's a resource pod there, but there's also a resource pod there and a crash satellite. We've got shell, egg, submerged nest, algae. For whatever reason, that's a 9 culture tile. We've got copper, we've got basalt, fungus. I'm going to put my first base here. So we've got one tile where we can get direct sea access for the North Sea Alliance specialised skills. Plus 3 production and energy from tubers. Right, okay. So first of all, we've got to clear the road. So, one alien leech dealt with. Got some production, but I didn't set it to produce something, so I'm not sure if I've just lost that production or not. Right, build a farm first of all. Ranged attack, get rid of that last part. Build a recycler. Now then, this is going to be very important for this game. Homeland defense. Cities and outposts recover 15 more damage each turn. And I'll assign Mason before anything else. Now the reason why this is vitally important is because there will be hordes of alien units before too long. As the miasma keeps spreading, it becomes a bit of a slog, but it's a fun slog. It keeps you on your toes, it keeps you challenged. Do you need to build more farms, more roads? Do you need to cut down more forests? Or do you need to desperately clear out the miasma before alien units start following it? Because they do. Get over that river. Reveal some more terrain that way. Now up there is a resource pod, so that's where I'm going to send the next soldier unit. Now then, open fire. Fire mission confirmed. Alien leech has been dealt with. So we're going to cut down this forest and we're going to try and get access to as many of these fungus tiles as possible, because that fungus at the moment is going to be a primary food source, and if I can get all of them in good time, especially considering that this is a dual map meant for 4 players, if I can lay my greasy little mitts on as much fungus as possible, then lay my mitts on as much territory as possible, I can secure a permanent foothold. Not just against the AI, but against the enemy as well. And develop and do all the rest of my tricks from there. Right, so we've got a quest already. Study alien remains. That's probably what that 9 culture tile is. Pardon me. Full of bloody wind this morning. So let's get this plantation up and running. So we've gone and constructed ourselves an old earth recycling building. So let's get another former on the go. There's nothing else of much worth over there. Right, we'll grab the other fungus tile. Oh, we've got an artifact. Nice. Plus 15 oh! Population estimation computer. One of the many resource pods. Oh, we got some floatstone up there. That will come in useful later. We've got fruits, copper, and chitin up there. Right. Is that where that river tower must end? Right, okay. So, I reckon here is probably where we're going to build our second base. Now, one of the really good parts about playing on very slow, quick speed, very slow progression with culture and everything else, is that it means we stay in what I think is one of the more interesting parts of the game, which is the very early pre-affinity stage. Because it's that stage where you don't have the specialised units, you don't have access to affinity resources or buildings. Everything you do have access to is basically what came off the colony ships while you're on your way here. So you don't even have Marines, you just have soldiers, and they are just guys in spacesuits carrying rifles. It's not even proper combat. Oh, +4 military capacity, what was that? Events. Yeah, we now have a log that allows us to keep track of notifications along the way, which has all of these various bits and bobs along the bottom. +4 military capacity for the rest of the game. So as I said, military capacity, I now have 10, and I've used 3 for my 2 soldiers and my ranger. But right now, it's... if I was to enter into a war with another faction, it would be blokes in spacesuits running around with pissy security rifles that are still relics from the spaceship we arrived here on. It would be mass grinding and just a really interesting stage in the game before everything else has even cropped up. You know, we don't know what floatstone is, we don't know what Firaxite is, we don't know what Xenomass is, we don't have access. The Progenitor Cache that one of our workers has found recently has been analysed. Our scientists are still unsure why exactly the progenitors chose to hide these resources, but the random location at which we found the cache would seem to suggest there might be other caches found on the planet. Experiments to allow our scanners to detect them have been unsuccessful, so it seems we will have to continue making this planet workable and hopefully find more caches along the way. Now this is another new addition. As you plod around the planet and making improvements, you find progenitor resource caches. So anytime you improve a tile, there is a base chance that you can find a cache that will include some variety of resources that can help you on your way to developing the world. Some are normally more useful than others, but anything is a bonus, especially in the early game. So colonization protocol is still improving, and we have a unit that's now gained a veterancy level. So if you want to go and grab... no, you're going to take damage in the miasma, or masmia. Progenitor Cache allows us to have 21 energy. So while we have some energy to spare, let's start buying up every tile that's available on the cheap. So we have some miasma here, and we have some here and above. And with the fast spreading option on, this will spread like there is no goddamn tomorrow. This really is a harsher, more alien world than where we were on Nemesis, because this world can and will actively go out of its way to just make our lives a living hell. And because it will take so long to develop any advanced technologies to deal with it, such as xenomass removers, affinity related improvements, all of these things are just out of our reach. And also with the mutated flora and fauna, it's going to be even more difficult to try and make our way through to make this a workable, survivable world. So you want to continue building that road while you spend your last charge on a resource mine. So you open fire on some of the mutated rippers that happen to be swimming around in the oceans. And we skip along to the next turn. Now, I'm fully expecting to lose this soldier now. Yep. Also, I don't suppose you guys have noticed, because I haven't released any of my newer content with this new resolution on here, but I now have a third monitor. And this third monitor is 1440 by 900. Which is, basically... not quite, you know, 1080p HD, but really quite nice for just spreading out all of these bits and pieces with the UI. And personally, it means that I can sit here and zoom in just a little bit closer and look at all the funky parts of these new colonies and all the different bits and pieces. So, yeah. I'm just blithering now, but here we go. He's going to open fire. They're going to die. Somebody else is going to land on this harsh and depressing world. Oh, back off. Get yourself out of line of sight. The bugs will have to follow. They'll run over the hill. They won't be able to chase you. Right. Run a little bit further. Fortify until healed. So we next turn this again. We've got 2 more turns until colonization protocol is up and running. Somebody else makes landfall. Right. Move back, actually. We're not going to run the road all the way up until there. So, we've developed our first virtue. Now, some of these allow us more military capacity, others allow more EXP, others have remained mostly unchanged. So for basically to get the colony up off the ground, +1 production in every city. And in the next turn, our colonization protocol will be ready, and we'll be able to expand, hopefully, to a second city up here, and lay claim to these extra resources. And then I'm thinking, well, what can we do on the other side of this river? Keep things tight, keep things contained, grow, expand, exterminate and conquer. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ta-ra for now!